Yeah. What up, everybody? Raising Kanan Season 2, Episode 3. Sleeping Dogs. Let's get into the recap. I want to start out with Kanan and Detective Howard. So, they didn't make us wait for this. Detective Howard told Kanan at the beginning of the episode, straight up, you know, I'm your Canaan, I'm your father. It's the craziest thing you ever heard, whatever else. And he laughed. Yeah, I laughed too. Whatever. And Canaan really didn't know what to think at that time. So he went on. He told Jukebox later on in the show. He called his mom. Mom, obviously lied about it. Rock lied about it. She laughed. Her laugh was even a little delayed, like, it is, you could tell she's like, BSing him about that, but he trusts his mom. He don't know all the lies, but this is gonna wake up because then later wake him up to all the lies she's been telling him because later on in the episode, the end of the episode, now we fast forward to the end after Jukebox told him straight up, "Oh no, this, he don't even remember you shooting him. This his brain probably is messed up or whatever." But then he told at the end, he straight up told Kanan, "I know you the one who shot me, but I'm not gonna report you because I wouldn't do that to my son," and walked off. And that's when Kanan said the truth hit you like some kind of train or something. But yeah, he basically at that point, Kanan knew at that point Detective Howard was not lying to him. He's not crazy. Um, we're gonna see moving forward because we do see in the original trailer of one of the original trailers of season 2 that at some point Kanan is gonna meet up with Death Con. Death Con is in prison, I guess, for life, and Kanan is gonna go visit him. So I don't know. They made it seem like in season 1 he was dead, but obviously because I saw the trailer and he does go meet up with him, and he tells him he got to man up at some point. But we're gonna see what actually happens with this situation between Kanan and Detective Howard. I mean, shoot, if he's in that game and having a cop that he really cares for him, going to look out for him as his dad, that might not be necessarily the worst thing possible for him and could keep him out of a lot of trouble now, right? So I think Detective Howard kind of already knows this is. He told Rock that Kanan ain't built for this life, but I mean, he already knows what Kanan did in season 1, how he was selling that bad work and killed all them people with it and everything else. He's already covered up for him. I mean, Kanan could honestly be doing. I mean, I know he's a juvie, but he could be doing a lot of time right now. He could be doing a lot of time for all them people he killed, that bad work he put out on the streets. So Detective Howard already covering up for him, and he don't even know about that yet. He don't even know about Detective Howard covering up for him about that. So we're gonna see how this relationship moves forward, and Keith might be the reason why we don't see Kanan getting jammed up until um, finally gets jammed up for and has to go away for 10 years because Ghost and Tasha end up setting him up somewhere in between Power and Raising Kanan, somewhere in the middle there. Kanan gets set up and goes to prison for 10 years. And that's the whole reason why we had him getting, jukebox and everything else come into play later in the future. But let's get into the next part I want to get into is Kanan stealing from his family's business. So I asked the question when I saw the trailer of episode 3, where do Famous and Kanan get the product from that they were selling with their tapes? And that question, I was trying to figure out who would have that much supply to give it to him, and who would actually sell it to him. Because I know Marvin ain't gonna do it again. Lou had never done it, and his mom, you would really. I mean, shoot, she asked him to kill somebody. So I mean, giving him work is like that ain't even close to being on the same level as actually killing somebody. I know Power likes to make it look like it's on the same level, but come on, really, selling a little package to somebody who's selling a little package to a dope fiend and taking a man's life is not the same thing. So it's not even close as being the same thing. So I mean, I could understand if Rock gave it to him, but I already knew that wasn't gonna happen with everything she going through with getting robbed. So but yeah, Caden stealing from his family business, that's gonna come back into play because you know they account for everything. He gonna end up getting somebody else killed from behind this. And I don't like to get into this when I'm doing the recap. I don't like to get into the trailer for the next episode, but I'm gonna do that because it ties right along with this. We already see him going back and stealing from his family business again. So this is gonna create a major problem here. Kanan stealing from the family business. On to what the next thing I want to talk about is sticking with Detective Howard still too. Detective Howard's partner is spying on him. We seen the lady coming out to his place, and she saw that. We saw her with her dad. Her dad was a former cop. She told him to leave that man alone. He told her to leave that man alone. But obviously, she didn't follow that direction because we saw her meeting up her former lover, and she told her that Howard is just a man with a lot of pride and this and that. But um, we're gonna see her still digging into this thing. She's not gonna give up on this. She gonna be a problem throughout this show. How big of a problem is she going to be? That's to tell because she doesn't really have much respect. We saw how the chief treated her when that woman was in there complaining about her. He ain't give her no respect. And I don't think nobody else gives her too much respect. But if she does bring something to the table they can use, she might change her status amongst the police people. All right. Now I want to get into the next thing I want to talk about. It is Famous is looking for a place. And this is going to be key to someone need to go back. I want to go back, whatever, and look at the episodes of Power with Kanan going into Breeze's spot. Because they're making this Famous homeless situation a really big deal. They're making him looking for a place where he gonna get this place at. They're making it a big deal, and it could be eventually because he is Breeze. I'm not saying never sure because I still don't think that makes too much sense as Famous being Breeze because obviously Breeze was the head over the organization, over even Kanan, like Ghost was regards to Tommy. You know, Kanan was the second in command, and Breeze was the shot caller. So basically, that was the situation with Breeze and Kanan. That's why I don't think it's gonna be Famous, but you got to keep that in the consideration, the back of your mind, because he's looking at this place. He's looking for a place, and it might end up being the same place that he gets shot at, and then Kanan ends up going in and breaking into, or whatever he did, and living for a while himself. So this is the big place. Gonna go try to find that scene, maybe the scene where those people try jumping Kanan as he's coming into the place, and he kills. I think dang, I can't remember the dude's name, but the Spanish guy in Dre sent a hit out on Kanan, and but he killed their two top hitters at the when they attacked him, and that would be a scene to look at for what the number of the place was on the door to see when Famous finds his place. Is this the same place all those years later that that Kanan was using to live, whatever, after he got out of jail? All right, so anyway, I want to get back into this episode now, and it's Jukebox in the studio. She laid down a straight banger, a hit, but Crown was telling Lou that she don't look the part, and Lou basically agreed with Crown and told him and told Jukebox that she try to just a little more to the part, and she was not happy, ended up leaving. But I know this at the end of the day. Jukebox or Famous is not gonna be, they're not gonna blow up in the music industry. Lou, he might I don't think he's gonna blow up either, because I mean, if he ended up blowing up, you wouldn't see Kanan in the situation he was in Power, where he's, if he had a famous best friend who blew up or a famous uncle who blew up in the music industry, he ain't gonna continue to be in the same situation, most likely, he is in Power. And we already know Jukebox don't blow up, because we see she becomes a cop in Power. So all these studio sessions, I mean, they're nice and they're ambitious, but we already know what the future holds, and by fast forwarding this thing to Power for some of these people, and blowing up in the music industry is not. I know 100% sure it ain't ain't in Jukebox's future. Crown maybe. Lou, as far as Lou and Famous, I'm highly doubtful of that too, just because the fact Kanan's close to them, and if they had made it in the music industry, he might have a different future upon him. So, and Famous ain't in Power neither, so you got to take that into consideration. You don't ever see Famous in Power, so eventually, all these people you don't see, only one you saw in Power is Jukebox. Jukebox and Kanan are the only people that I can think of that make it 25, however many years into the future. About 20 years into the future, probably. The only one still alive is Kanan and Jukebox. So that music industry stuff ain't really going to pan out for them. But Crown and Lou are in a beef right now, starting to, because Crown sent Lou's, when he was sleeping with Lou's girl, and then he sent her off to California. So that created a little tension. Now they're disagreeing on things in the studio, like whether to sign that girl, the new singer. They're just disagreeing with the last episode. They disagreed with the single. Crown said single deals are for suckers. And a lot of beef. And you even see Crown at the end of this episode going to try to meet with Rock, but she had too much going on. She trying to meet with Rock to discuss her being part owner of the record label, and Lou getting back into the streets and out of the studio. He do not want Lou in the studio. He think he making bad decisions. Might be. And we got Marvin, who is my second favorite character in Raising Kanan. You see, he's a little calmer, a little cooler headed this season. And he's in his rehab class. Not rehab, his anger management class. And he learns he's openly aggressive. And I remember that was about me. But I didn't get an anger management class to to get to control my openly aggressive behavior. Um, when I caught my fifth felony and I got out of prison, they told me that if I get another violent crime on my record, that I got a mandatory minimum of 15 years on my over my head. Mandatory minimum, boy. That ain't to be played with, man. I ain't punched nobody. I ain't hit nobody over the head with something. I ain't done nothing to nobody. Kicked them while they on the ground. Nothing. I've been a lover and not a fighter for it's been about 15 years now, man. For real. All that take for me was that mandatory minimum hanging over my head. And I got rid of my own. I'm still openly aggressive, but just not to that point at no more. And Marvin, he learned a breathing technique because you saw the man in the wheelchair try him after he learned the breathing technique. And I can tell you one thing: if he would beat the hell out that man in that wheelchair, that would have been a problem. Because if you attack somebody in a wheelchair, that's like a whole nother level of violent crime. So he would have been in some trouble. I'm glad he didn't attack that man. That man really thought he was really doing something. Now that was funny. That was straight funny. But yeah, Marvin, my second favorite character in Raising Kanan, behind Unique, the dude who robbed the bodega, and it did come out to be nothing. I mean, he said he retired his jerseys in the Raptors. He's jerseys hanging next to mine in the Raptors. I'm retired too. We hanging in the Raptors, but I don't think Unique is done for good. The next episode, I said I don't like to get into the trailers too much, but I do want to just break into this. We do see he's in the next episode, so he's still gonna be around. He's cast for the season two of Raising Kanan. And if you just are tuning in, that is who I think. If you haven't watched my previous videos, otherwise, that is who I think is Breeze. Unique is my top candidate to be who I think is Breeze. I did mention Famous earlier, but that's just a small chance because, like I said, I just don't see that matching up. I see Unique. People are, oh, why would Kanan get with Rock's enemy? Well, now him and Rock ain't necessarily enemies, even though you do see her getting swooped up. That's what I was going to say about the trailer for episode 3. You do see, or episode 4, you do see him talking to that cop, or that cop come and talk to him, but Unique ain't snitching. That's to me the snitch. If you want to get into that snitch, he was in this episode. I'm gonna say that for when I break down that trailer. But I don't think Unique's the snitch. No, I don't think he's the snitch. That ain't his character type to be snitching. That's what Rock's done to him a few times though. So he wouldn't be doing nothing that Rock ain't already done to him. So yeah, but yeah, the bodega got hit. Not much came out of that other than Unique says he wants his piece. Lou and Rock said this is about business. We're gonna give you your piece. They got their money back. Everything is fine. I don't understand that. I don't understand why he would rob them and just tell them, I want my piece. Me, I would have robbed him with all that money. I would have took my van, and I'm trying to figure out how he got all those boxes how he was able to carry all that money. He must have a big van or semi or something he drove there, because they had a whole lot of boxes in that thing. He cleaned the whole thing out. So I don't know how he was able to do that, but he did. But yeah, I don't see nothing. Me, I would have took all those boxes of money, and I would have been off to Florida or somewhere to retire. My jersey's in the Raptors. I got all my enemies' money who forced me to retire. I'm straight. I'm going to Florida. I'm not going to stay in Southside Jamaica, Queens. Sorry, bruh. I ain't doing that. But hey, Unique is a different type of dude. He got he gonna be around. He's sticking around for a reason, and I think he gonna end up being Breeze. But only time will tell what ends up happening with Unique in that story in his character, because he's still alive, and he's definitely got a role to play in the future of this Raising Kanan series. And now that he claims his jerseys in the Raptors, we can only see. Only time will tell what happens with any of this stuff. Except we know what happens with Kanan and Jukebox. All the rest of the characters are complete mysteries. What's going to happen with them? Oh yeah, just one other thing on a side note, man. While I'm here, when is Kanan gonna get his growth spurt, though? Because in Power, that man is big. He's one of the tallest, biggest dudes. This episode, he's so. I mean, this show, he's so small. He's just smaller than his mom. I mean, he's like 15, 16 years old. Most kids, by the time they're 15 or 16 years old, they're taller than their mom. I mean, most kids by the time they're 12 is probably taller than their mom. Honestly, just honestly, for real. Males, most males by the time they're 12, 13 is taller than their mom. This kid is 15, 14, 15, 16 years old, and he's still shorter than his mom. One of the smallest kids, one of the smallest people in the whole show. But so that don't add up. The dude is a great actor, phenomenal. But that don't add up to me. I've had a problem with that since season 1, honestly, because they just don't. Those two are supposed to be the same guy. They don't have the same physical stature. I'm sure he'll hit a growth spurt eventually.